Hello footy fans, welcome to Bev's Footy Tips for the big one, the 2022 AFL Grand Final taking place this Saturday at the MCG. It's going to be good to have the Grand Final back at the home of footy, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and I think it's all set up to be a cracking Grand Final. So let's not muck around, let's just get straight in to previewing the Grand Final. Before we do though, let's just take a quick look back at my tips from last week, the preliminary finals. I tipped Geelong over Brisbane, and I tipped Sydney over Collingwood. Here we go, the 2022 AFL Grand Final. It's Geelong taking on the Sydney Swans this Saturday at the home of footy, the MCG, at 2:30 p.m. It's great to have the Grand Final back in the traditional afternoon time slot, and I don't think we could have asked for a better Grand Final this year. Both teams in great form. It's all set up to be a cracking contest, possibly the best Grand Final we've seen for some time, maybe the best Grand Final since 2018. Geelong, they finished first on the ladder. They claimed the minor premiership and won 18, lost 4 before the finals. Sydney, they finished third on the ladder with 16 wins and 6 losses. Both teams have only had to win twice during the finals to get to the big dance. Geelong, they beat Collingwood in the qualifying finals by 6 points. They then had the week off and then destroyed Brisbane by 71 points last weekend in the preliminary finals. While Sydney, they beat Melbourne by 22 points and then went on to beat Collingwood by a narrow 1 point in possibly the best prelim final we will see. As I mentioned, both teams in great form, cracking form. They both bring big winning streaks into this Grand Final. Geelong have won their last 15 games. Sydney have won their last 9 games. Geelong's last loss was way back in round 9 to St Kilda at Marvel Stadium by 10 points. Sydney's last loss was back in round 16 to Essendon at the MCG by 9 points. Of course, Geelong are aiming to win their 10th premiership, their first since 2011. Sydney, they're looking to win their first premiership since 2012. Their 6th premiership. They've won 5, but only 2 of those have been under the Sydney Swans name. Head-to-head, these two teams have only met once this season. It was way back in round 2 at the SCG. It was actually the match where Lance Buddy Franklin kicked his 1,000th goal. Sydney went on to win that game by 30 points. The final score was 17-5, 107 to 10, 17-77. The notable goal kickers in that match, Heaney kicked 5, Franklin kicked 4, and Brad Close kicked 4. Now, Sydney did win the match by 30 points, but Geelong actually had more scoring opportunities. They had 28 shots from a whopping 65 inside 50s compared to Sydney's 24 shots from 47 inside 50s. So I think it's fair to say, even though Sydney won by 30 points, Geelong probably could have won the match if they had have taken their opportunities, but Sydney won the match fair and square. But I'm not sure how much we read into the last time they met, given it was way back in round 2. Both teams have gotten better since then, especially Geelong, who in my opinion have gotten better as the season has gone on. Sydney have won the last 2 matches against Geelong, but in the last 10 encounters between the two teams, it's 5 apiece. So it's relatively even head-to-head when you look at it from that perspective. Now, these two teams have never met in a grand final, but they have met in 3 finals previously. Sydney have won 2 of those, including the famous Nick Davis, I see it, but I don't believe it goal back in 2005 to win the game by 3 points there at the SCG. Sydney's record at the MCG is pretty good. In their last 7 matches at the home of footy, Sydney have won 5 of them. So you'd have to think the MCG is not going to be an excuse for Sydney on Saturday, given their recent record at the venue. So who wins the 2022 AFL Grand Final on Saturday? Well, like I said off the top, I think this game has the potential to be a cracking one. I think it could go either way, but I'm tipping Geelong to win by 10 points. I think they've been the better team out of the two. Their 15-game winning streak says it all. They were ruthless in the way that they defeated Brisbane last weekend by 71 points. They've got strength in all areas. They seem to be so hard to score against. They definitely showed that last week. They've got plenty of power up forward and in the midfield. And I think they're going to be hard to beat. I did tip Geelong in my video predictions before the finals, so I'm going to stick with the Cats to win the 2022 Premiership. But like I said, I think this game has the potential to go either way. My Norm Smith medal tip, well, I'm going with an obvious here. I'm going with Patrick Dangerfield. I just think he's set up to have a ripping game. He had probably a best-on-ground performance last week against the Brisbane Lions. He'll be hungry to lead his team to a premiership on Saturday. He'll be hungry to win a premiership himself, and I think he'll be the difference in Geelong winning or losing on Saturday. So tipping Patrick Dangerfield to win the Norm Smith medal, but you could name a heap of players that could potentially win the medal. There's the obvious: Jeremy Cameron, Tom Hawkins, Isaac Heaney, Luke Parker, Callum Mills. The names go on and on. There's even a few smokies. Like, I think Ryan Myers could potentially win it. He had a really good game against Brisbane last week. Even a player like Sam de Koning could win the Norm Smith medal, especially if he does a Stephen May type job on Lance Franklin. There's also a player like Mark Blixarves who could also win the award, and the names do not stop there. So plenty of winners, plenty of potential winners, but I'm tipping Patrick Dangerfield. So there you go, footy fans. That is my preview and tips for the 2022 AFL Grand Final. I cannot wait for the big dance this Saturday. I'll be at home, spending it with family, having a few bevs, and enjoying some good old-fashioned footy food while enjoying what I hope is going to be a cracking AFL Grand Final. But that concludes Bears Footy Tips for season 2022. I do hope you've enjoyed the series. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and don't forget to press that subscribe button. Enjoy the Grand Final this Saturday, and until next time, bye for now.